What's up, Taiwan? I'm Leslie Liao with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan is increasing fines 15-fold for companies caught illegally exporting to Russia. The move comes after reports that Russian arms makers have been importing machine tools made in Taiwan. The equipment is used in complex manufacturing, including weapons production. Taiwan doesn't allow the sale of such goods to Russian companies because of its war in Ukraine. But Taiwanese exports have ended up in Russia via Turkey and China. Taiwan's economy ministry is asking Taiwanese exporters not to allow their products to be reshipped to Russia and Belarus. The penalty for first-time violators is now $32,000 US. The U.S. State Department is backing Taiwan after China changed a commercial flight path, bringing it closer to an unofficial border with Taiwan. China reverted flight route M503 back to its pre-2015 path, bringing it almost 4 nautical miles from the median line of the Taiwan Strait. The U.S. says it opposes any changes to the status quo between Taiwan and China, and flight routes should be decided by both sides. China says it made the change to alleviate air traffic and increase flight safety. Taiwan's homegrown COVID-19 Medigen vaccine is just as effective as its mainstream counterparts. That's according to a new study that will be published in a U.S. Centers for Disease Control medical journal. An early release of the study shows that the Medigen vaccine is 91% effective in preventing death or serious symptoms after 3 shots. Those results are comparable to other vaccines like the BioNTech and Moderna mRNA shots. Taiwanese authorities are welcoming the findings after the vaccine faced harsh criticism over its development and rollout. A rare artifact has been unearthed in eastern Taiwan, giving a glimpse into one of the island's prehistoric cultures. Reese Ayers has the story.
It may not look like much, but this strange little object has just made one lucky archaeology intern in Taiwan very happy.
手上有一个陶把就掉到地板上，然后就看到人兽新玉珏在我面前，然后就很开心，觉得很幸运，就把它捡起来。
Found in the topsoil on a farm in Hualien in eastern Taiwan, archaeologists believe this tiny piece of carved jade is from the Neolithic period, as far back as 3,000 years ago.
年代大概距今3000年到2500年之间这样，那就是一个装饰品。它的那个上面有一个钻一个孔这样子，你可以把它当做它就是一个项链的一个坠子。
Hualien is a hotspot for archaeological finds, and the local museum says that the object is typical of the Huaganshan culture of the people living in the area thousands of years ago, and demonstrates the technology of the time. One of only about 40 such pieces discovered in Taiwan, the ornament is quite the find, and a rare glimpse into the island's prehistory. Justin Wu and Reese Ayers for TaiwanPlus.
It's been 3 years since a military coup overthrew Myanmar's democratic rule. As the conflict rages on, a Taiwanese NGO is doing what it can at the border between Myanmar and Thailand to ensure children get an education. Jeremy Olivier has more.
A group of volunteers from Taiwan surveys the border between Myanmar and Thailand. They're here with the NGO Global Action Taiwan, a charity dedicated to fostering children's education in the region. Their work is vital as Myanmar's civil war enters its 3rd year. People fleeing to this region, particularly children, aren't able to get the education they need. That's where Global Action comes in.
所以有很多缅甸难民、移工来到边境上，那孩子没有读书的机会，所以我们就携手当地的社区，一起去办学校。
I think this project is very good for the people in the village. So if I have chance, I would like to work in this kind of project.
Global Action has been working in the area since 2015. It sponsors around 16 schools. Many of the students it's helped over the years have returned to pay it forward.
1700位孩子，那70-80位的老师啦，或当地的服务工作者。
As Myanmar's people continue to struggle, Global Action is helping those that have been displaced by the conflict. Children of refugees here are given a shot at a proper education, despite having their lives turned upside down by war. Howard Zhang, Leslie Liao, and Jeremy Olivier for TaiwanPlus.
400 years ago, Dutch traders and explorers arrived in southern Taiwan. Now a museum is exhibiting their role in the island's history. Louise Watt reports.
An oil painting shows a Dutch priest baptizing indigenous people in Taiwan in the 17th century. Part of a private collection in the Netherlands, it's now on public display in southern Taiwan. A testament to the time when Dutch soldiers and missionaries arrived there, beginning a partial colonization of Taiwan.
1624是一个台湾加入全球化的一个重要的节点，但是我们希望说，去把1624作为一个引子。
The exhibition at the National Museum of Taiwan History in Tainan is spotlighting 1624 as the year Taiwan entered the international arena. And the more than 100 artifacts also depict the era's flourishing trade between the Dutch and Japanese.
台南500年的时候我们都不在了，能够把握住这个历史的里程碑，告诉我们，也告诉我们的下一代，我们这个历史长河中流过了哪些东西。
Exhibition organisers hope that as the public delves into 400 years of Taiwan's history, they'll understand that the island's internationalisation is not as recent as they thought, but that its links to the world go back hundreds of years. Howard Zhang and Louise Watt for TaiwanPlus.
The exhibition is on at the National Museum of Taiwan History in Tainan until the end of June. 3 people are dead and nearly 300 injured after a massive gas blast in Kenya's capital, Nairobi. A tanker truck exploded in the city, causing a massive ball of fire to spread through houses, businesses, and cars. Police say a child is among those killed and the death toll is likely to rise. Authorities have launched an investigation to find the cause of the blast. At least 10 people have died in wildfires raging through Chile. Out-of-control forest fires are sweeping through homes, forcing entire towns to be evacuated. At least 7,000 hectares of land have been burned in the coastal region of Valparaiso, while about 150 wildfires have been reported countrywide. High temperatures and strong winds are being blamed for the rapid spread of the fires. Authorities have issued a state of emergency to help firefighters tackle the blazes. A rare white penguin has been spotted waddling around Chilean Antarctica. Gen 2 penguins usually have black feathers, a bright orange bill, and white eye patches. But this female bird is almost completely white due to leucism, a rare genetic condition. Scientists say the condition makes animals that have it more vulnerable to predators.
En este caso, al ser un animal que tiene mayoritariamente el cuerpo blanco, puede favorecer a que un depredador pueda cazarlo más fácilmente, y es por eso que también los casos de leucismo son muy raros, porque además de ser genes recesivos que se expresan poco, también son animales que están muy expuestos, en el caso de los pingüinos, a que lo pueda comer un depredador con más facilidad.
Environmental groups in Taiwan are calling attention to how green energy projects are impacting the ecology of the country's coastal wetlands. Laurel Stewart reports.
This vast wetland on Taiwan's west coast is the home to thousands of plant and animal species. It's the largest in the country and has long been the foundation of the local ecosystem. But wind and solar farms off the coast of Changhua County are impacting the area's ecology. Environmental groups say wind turbines on land kill birds and affect tides when built offshore, while floating solar panels disturb underwater habitats.
光电板盖了，你一定会遮阴，没有了光，那你说潮间带的生物，它所谓的生物多样性的这些所有科学证据的这些计算，它要怎么继续维持下去？
And these wetlands are also an important magnet for tourists. Oyster harvesting by ox cart is a traditional activity that attracts about 30,000 visitors a year. Locals are calling for the government to conserve the area by adding it to the Ramsar list, a convention that protects wetlands of international importance.
其实是一种保护，更是一种追随世界发展休闲观光潮流的一个主要方向。
They hope to curb the development of wind and solar farms that disturb the environment.
风机，我们的太阳能光电一直在侵蚀我们。也许在10年后，台湾海岸线没有好的一个地方了。
But the development of solar and wind power projects is part of the government's plan to increase renewable energy to 20% of the country's energy mix by 2025. But despite the need to cut carbon emissions by moving away from fossil fuels, some say the drawbacks of green energy projects outweigh their benefits.
彰化的湿地、潮间带的湿地可以这样搞吗？民进党政府为了搞光电，破坏生态、破坏环境，在所不惜吗？
But with Taiwan's limited land mass, renewable energy projects are often relegated to the country's coastlines. So striking the balance between emissions goals and ecological protection will continue to pose questions for Taiwan's policymakers. Ryan Wu and Laurel Stewart for TaiwanPlus.
Lunar New Year is just around the corner, and Taiwan's biggest holiday is all about celebration, family, and food. One of the most popular snacks is niangao, a kind of glutinous rice cake. One street in southern Taiwan's Pingtung County is famous for making them, and business is always booming at this time of year. 11 bamboo steamer baskets are stacked up, a scene that can be witnessed in the early months of each year in Pingtung County in Taiwan's south. The area has been given the moniker Jiuru Niangao Street, referring to niangao, a type of glutinous rice cake eaten over the Lunar New Year. This street used to be lined with niangao vendors, but today only 2 remain. With the Lunar New Year fast approaching, these shops are getting busy. And the owners say the secret to their success is using wood-fired stoves instead of gas. Popular as they are, these shops are telling people to order early and fast because a single batch of niangao takes 8 hours to make. Lunar New Year is a time for tradition, and if these shops' popularity has anything to say about tradition, it's that there's no shortcuts to quality and taste. A night market in Jade that was shut down last year for violating zoning regulations has reopened just in time for Lunar New Year. The sprawling Humei night market attracted large crowds when it opened in June 2023, boasting nearly 400 stalls. But its location was considered illegal, and the city fined its operators nearly $2,000. After finally receiving approval to operate, the market came back to life on February 2nd. Vendors have been handing out 3,000 coupons to customers in the form of Lunar New Year red envelopes to mark the occasion. Taiwan's cherry blossom season has come earlier than expected. Our reporter Sandy Shi finds out why.
An explosion of pink. Cherry blossoms around Taiwan have already started blooming.
我住在越南，在南越，我们那边很少樱花，都是梅花，所以我就很喜欢樱花，也就叫你上国府来拍，就很有那个过年的气氛。
The cherry blossom season has started here 2 weeks earlier than usual, and more than 60% of flowers are already in full bloom around Taiwan, thanks to a warm winter. Weather conditions have a big effect on when the buds bloom. That's because cherry blossoms grow faster in warmer temperatures. And crowds have started flocking to cherry blossom hotspots across the country to catch a glimpse of the dazzling trees.
去日本成本比较高啊，这有未出国的感觉。我们拍1个小时。
Some cherry blossom enthusiasts are even planning overseas trips, trying to see as many of the trees as possible before the season ends.
第一站的樱花，下一次他要去釜山。 然后我们再来会去武陵、福寿山。
And as people take time for rest and relaxation over the Lunar New Year, these crowds are likely to flourish as the cherry blossoms hit peak bloom. Chris Ma and Sandy Chi for TaiwanPlus.
Tourists are flocking to a popular Taipei attraction after it received a Lunar New Year makeover. The Malong Gondola, which connects the Taipei Zoo to nearby tea farms, is now home to a host of cartoon animals. A local animal rescue charity created the design with a popular cartoon character featured on Taipei's metro. The city expects more than 20,000 people a day to ride the gondola over the lunar holiday. The cartoons have already proven a big hit with some smaller visitors. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, we leave you with images of flowers blooming in Beitou in the north of Taipei. I'm Liao, take care, and I'll see you next time.